Welcome to the 2023 Heart of America Athletic Conference Media Day. I'm your host, Stephen Davis. It's time to preview the Graceland Yellow Jackets. We're joined by head coach Patrick Ross and a pair of student athletes. Guys, before we get going with questions, I'm going to have you introduce yourselves. Tell us your name, how long you've been there at Graceland, and where you're from.
I'll go ahead and start. Patrick Ross, head football coach. This is going on our second season here at Graceland University.
My name is Cade Ross. I play quarterback, and I'm going to my sophomore year.
My name is Brett Whitehall. I'm going into my junior year, and I'm free safety.
All right, Coach, let's start with you. Second year, how excited are you to get going this season and get out there on the field with this group for this year?
Yeah, definitely fired up. You know, with having a year under our belt now within our systems, we're able to build a great foundation of a bunch of kids who are just fighters and winners and outstanding human beings. So I couldn't be more fired up to where we are as a football program, and I'm excited to watch them get out there and develop and create a great atmosphere to being in our football program.
How was the off season, having a full year under your belt, as you said, to get out on the recruiting trail and work with the guys through spring and hopefully some in summer as well?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think the foundation was key. We came in last year. We had 6 months to put in our systems. We had good players here, but we had 6 months to put in our systems, teach them our expectations, our culture. And so when we came back in the spring, it was like clockwork. The kids really bought into the system. They bought into each other. It's been a lot of fun working with these guys. And we've had to hire some new coaches here in the last couple of weeks and couple of months. And one of the comments all of them made is they were shocked at how close our football team is, especially with us only being here, a little over a year. But the cohesiveness, the camaraderie, just the overall aspect of the culture of our football team is outstanding and something that we as a staff and our seniors and guys like Brett should be extremely proud of because of what they've developed in a short time.
Tell us about the two guys sitting next to you there, Cade and Brett, one of whom you obviously know very well.
Yeah. So Cade is going into a sophomore year, playing quarterback for us. Was having an outstanding season last year until had a major injury, which cost him the rest of the season. But I think that I think having some experience in the system, because he's run the system basically his whole life, having some experience in our offensive system really helped us with cohesiveness on the offensive side of the ball and being able to get guys lined up right first of all, and then getting in the right spot. So he was a huge impact through those first several games, just of the overall controlling the offense. Fortunately, when he did get hurt, we had Judd Roberts step in and kill it too. Did a great job. So there was a really good battle in the spring between Judd and Lou. Cade played part of the spring, but I feel like our quarterback position is really stacked right now. I feel really good about the position group. But I think Cade's demeanor in the offense has been great for us and helped us advance as an offense. And obviously with the tools around him, he's been able to have some success. So coming back from his injury, he was able to practice in the last 4 or 5 practices of the spring. And looks to me like, after he gets his arm endurance back to where it was, the arm strength is there. So we're very fortunate because it's a pretty ugly break. So glad to have him back. Brett is a staple of this football program. I think he's the epitome of who we are. Our motto is only the tough. He's one of the toughest kids I've coached in my career. He's right up there at the top of that group. Hard worker, does everything right, does the classroom right, good in the campus culture with the rest of the student body. So he's definitely someone that we're proud of as our football program to have and leading our defense.
Cade, let's go to you first. Talk about laying the foundation. As Coach said, you run this offense your whole life. You're helping to get this thing going now for him. What's it like trying to get this thing going, and how do you guys feel like you are in the process right now?
We're doing great. I mean, I've been running it since 2nd grade, so I have a lot of experience running this offense, and all the guys seem to know it. A little bit last year, we weren't in the right spots, and now everybody's getting to the right spots where they need to be, and everybody's starting to understand the concepts and why we're running what we're running when we're running it, and we're looking really good.
How excited are you to get going with this season? I know an off season and coming off an injury, it can be a long grind. How excited are you to get out there and actually play some football again with your teammates?
Yeah, I'm super excited. G came down to Florida. We were throwing all summer. That's my #1 target as of now. So pretty excited to get out there. We look really good. Whole offense looks good. We got some new receivers that look good. Our O-line stepping up. They look really good. Some running backs look good. So yeah.
Brett, how about for you, coming off a season where you guys had some success? How does that motivate you and your teammates through this past off season and into this fall?
I think it motivates us a lot, at least as the defensive side and offensive side. In the spring, we put up some huge numbers in the weight room. We all became pretty tight knit. Back in the fall, we weren't really as close as we should have been because most of us were pretty new to each other. So through the past year, we've become really tight knit, close together. We know what we can do in the weight room. We know what we can do on the field, and we're working on our communication. So I think it'll be pretty good.
Coach talked about you being a staple of the program there at Graceland. What does it mean to you to be part of the Graceland community and the Graceland family?
I mean, I think it's very special. It takes a different kind of person to be here in Lamoni, Iowa. And as long as you can lead others to kind of, show each other around, it makes people more content with being here in Lamoni, Iowa. And that's really it.
We are also joined today by the voice of the Graceland Yellow Jackets, Stuart Johnson. Stu, do you have some questions for the guys?
Oh, if I could. Coach, when you established that only the tough mentality, you said that you wanted to have an attacking mentality, or you wanted to attack practice or all facets really of the football team, practice, conditioning, coursework, what have you, with a high energy level. You didn't really establish necessarily a goal in terms of a win total last season, but you did establish getting that culture as a goal.
Sure.
How close did you come to that as you evaluated it, at least by the time November ended last year?
Well, I'll tell you what, it started in game 2. Okay. So our Yellow Jackets were on a 31 game losing streak, 30 when we got here, and then we lost our first game to America. So we had a 31 game losing streak. And we go into week 2 and we find ourselves down 21-0 to Evangel in the first quarter. So to me, the toughness precedence was set right there when we were able to mentally and physically get ourselves back in that football game and break a 31 game losing streak. So that goal has been hit, and now it's exceeded because everybody on our football team is confident. They play hard. They fight for each other. They do the little things to help us elevate ourselves to be a championship caliber football team. So although the wins didn't rack up like we wanted them to or expected them to, or we think are to our standard, the other things in the football program were driving force increasing on a regular basis. And I expect when we get back to this fall, everybody's coming in confident. Again, we have a foundation. Everybody believes that we're going to be a much improved, much better football team than we were a year ago. And now we got to go out and find missing pieces that we felt we needed to add to our football team, because we're here to win football games. Going 500 to us isn't what our expectations, not our goal. And if it was, I shouldn't be sitting here. Okay. I've got these kids determined to be successful, and they got an opportunity to win every game they play. That's our mindset. And that's what we're going to go out and every Saturday hope to accomplish.
When you talk about within a football season, many coaches say, and I think Graceland was an example, that week 1 to week 2, there's a huge, there's a possibility of being, a huge learning curve. You get much better in your performance in the second game of the season as opposed to the first. Does that also translate in your previous stops? Is that also translated in the second year coming back to a football program?
Yeah, it absolutely should, because again, everybody's a year into the system, they're a year into the expectations. So I think that's a definite. I think we're going to see a huge increase in that because of those reasons right there. And we had some coaching turnover, so we have to, we're retraining coaches as well. But that's always a positive thing too. If these coaches are looking to move on and get newer opportunities, I see that as my job too. I'm here to help establish success for everybody in our football program. So that's our coaches, that's our players, that's our students, just to try to get them to where they want to be. And football is a different game these days than back in our days, and back even just 10 years ago, that with the transfer rules and all those kind of things. So I'm here to help facilitate whatever's best for our student athletes. Obviously, I got to look out for our program first, but I'm going to get these kids to come in. They're going to play hard. We're going to help build a platform for their careers, whatever that be, whether it be football, whether it be running businesses. We're going to help build them a platform and help them reach their goals. And so for our coaching staff, some of those guys, had great opportunities to go and make more money or take a different job at a different level, or go back home. So we had some great opportunities for our coach to move on and take jobs. So, we're proud of that fact too, but that puts us back to making sure we're reestablishing ourselves as a program and making sure everybody understands what the expectations are. So we'll have some more learning curves this fall. However, I do know our kids are better than they were a year ago. They're better players. We've got some new faces in here that are going to really elevate our competition at practice. And at the end of the day, 100% honest opinion is the people are replaceable, but the quality of our players is not. And we got a great group of kids here who are going to have success.
Brett, as a leader on this football team, what is the definition of that to you? How do you provide leadership, and how's that get demonstrated?
No, that's a good question. I think I touched on a little bit a second ago, but the reality is again, I'm here to help them be successful. Everybody's different. I think we have a lot of different personalities within our football program, and I don't operate like some head coaches do in a black and white. I operate in a lot of gray area because I really want to help each individual be successful. Obviously, again, my ultimate goal is how we're going to have this team be successful. But I think my leadership style is outstanding for a place like Graceland and Lamoni, because we're going to have kids from all different areas. They've been brought up different. They have different values, a lot of different standards for these student athletes. And it's my job to bring them all together and again, get them to perform and peak at the right moments. And so I think my leadership style, where I operate in a little bit of a gray area, in both my football profession and my other professional career life, I think it gives us some opportunity to get the best out of everybody and not just the best out of certain people.
Cade, what were the phases of your rehab? Your dad detailed that injury to me, and I winced every moment he was describing it. What were the phases of that, and what was the rehab process? Was it a difficult rehab process?
It wasn't too difficult. The phases, I guess, at first I had to let it heal, so I didn't do anything for the first 8 weeks or so. And then I started going to a place in Des Moines, which they were really good. And I was just doing a lot of band work. And after about 6 weeks of that, I finally started throwing a little bit, and then started doing a little bit more weight to grow the muscles around the bone in my shoulder to give it strength all around. And then once I started throwing, I kind of went full into throwing right away. And then, yeah, it was a pretty easy process for me.
And then Brett, you're a clear leader, certainly by example, in the fact that you've played both sides of the ball during your career at Graceland, and you will do the job that you were asked to do. So I don't know if there's ever any worries about what your performance is going to be on the football team. A leader also gets players around them, at least to some degree, to better themselves. How much of a challenge is that for you, or is that, or do you even consider that a responsibility?
I do consider it a responsibility. A lot of times I won't speak up personally, but I will just do the work and show them how to get things done. So like in the weight room, my group, I strive for my group to be the best group in the weight room. Our DB group, I will do everything in my power to make us the best group. We've had our struggles in the past, and we're constantly learning and we're constantly growing as a group there. And as a defense, I always try and get us to hang out outside of football and outside of school even. So taking the leadership responsibility there has been a growing factor for me, but I'm definitely working on it and it's getting a lot better.
And Coach, did only the tough mentality, it's one thing to have that type of mentality through a camp and then a season where you're actually performing for 10 games. It's another thing to do that over an off season to prepare for a season that is months ahead. Did they attack those off season responsibilities the same way as, or to the level you liked?
Yeah, no, they absolutely did. And it's just something that we embrace here. Like they embrace it. They want it. They want to be pushed. And again, it starts with guys like Brett, so Brett is not only tough from the mental standpoint, but he's got physical toughness. His body was banged up this year, and we asked him to do a lot of things. He had to snap for us, play some safety, and then in our system, he's down near the box a lot of times. So he brought a physical aspect of toughness to our football team. And Cade, is also extremely physically tough. He was trying to get back in the game after he broke his arm. And so I think that mindset among guys like this on our football team, it resonates with the rest of the football team too. So our physical toughness is definitely not something that's questioned. There's obviously ways we can grow mentally as a football team, so I'm excited though to watch our kids, because again, I think they've embraced all the things I put on the table for them, say, this is what we have to do to be a championship football team. They took it and they've exceeded it. And again, the expectation for each of them is very high.
Coach, Cade, Brett, we appreciate the time today. We're excited to see what this season brings for you.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. We appreciate you guys doing this.